They said Poseidon grew angry that night, that the sea itself rose to claim his city. But what truly happened in ancient Helike may be more terrifying than myth. This is the tragic story of the vanishing of Helike. Centuries before Plato's tale of Atlantis, Helike was real, a shining city on the Gulf of Corinth. Wealthy, proud, here fishermen prayed for calm seas, sailors offered treasures from distant lands, and priests conducted sacred rites, warning all to never anger the god who reigned beneath the waves. Helike was a nexus of power and piety, the leader of the first Achaean League, a hub of culture with its own coinage and colonies. Yet, as with all golden ages, pride grew in the heart of the city. And Helike's was about to end in a cataclysm that would echo through history. The signs came days before the fall. In the winter of 373 BC, the natural world seemed to recoil in fear. Animals fled the coast, streaming inland as if chased by an unseen terror. Snakes, weasels, and mice abandoned their nests and scurried for the hills. Birds took to the sky in massive, panicked flocks. Farmers watched, puzzled, as their livestock refused to graze near the shore. The wells that provided the city's water began to tremble, and the air grew thick with the smell of brine and marsh gas rising from the ground. The people of Helike, secure in their prosperity, laughed it off. They called it superstition, the ramblings of old farmers. But nature had already spoken its warning. The earth was preparing to unleash its fury. Then, in a single terrifying night, the earth convulsed. A massive earthquake, a tremor of unimaginable force, shook the foundations of the city. The ground beneath Helike, saturated with water from the nearby rivers and the sea, did the unthinkable. It liquefied. Solid ground turned to churning quicksand in an instant. Buildings didn't just crumble, they sank whole into the mire. Homes, markets, and the grand temple of Poseidon itself were swallowed by the earth. People were trapped in a slurry of mud and their own collapsing city. Moments later, as if delivering a final brutal blow, a colossal wave, a tsunami, surged from the Gulf of Corinth and crashed over the sinking land. By morning, where a proud city once stood, there was only the whispering sea. 10 Spartan ships anchored in the harbor were dragged down with it. There were no survivors. To the horrified Greeks who witnessed the aftermath, there was no question. Poseidon had spoken. The god had punished his own city for its arrogance. Some sources say the people of Helike had refused to share a statue of Poseidon with colonists, or had even murdered Ionian delegates seeking to copy their altar. For their impiety, the Earthshaker had reclaimed his domain. For centuries afterward, the legend grew. Sailors navigating the Gulf of Corinth claimed that on calm days, they could see the bronze statue of Poseidon still standing upright beneath the waves. Fishermen said they could sometimes snag their nets on the city's sunken rooftops and hear the faint, ghostly ringing of temple bells carried on the tide. The story of Helike became a cautionary tale that spread across the ancient world, a stark reminder of divine vengeance, the god who drowned his own worshippers. It's widely believed that Plato, writing just a few years later, based his legendary account of Atlantis on the very real and very recent destruction of Helike. For over 2 millennia, Helike remained a myth, its exact location lost to time. But today, science gives the myth a chilling new life. In the late 20th century, archaeologists, armed with ancient texts and modern technology, began a systematic search. They didn't look in the sea, but inland. Over centuries, the rivers had deposited layers of silt, creating a new coastal plain. And there, buried beneath meters of earth near the modern town of Achaean, they found it. Not just scattered ruins, but the preserved remains of Helike. The culprit wasn't a god's wrath, but a geological phenomenon known as soil liquefaction. When a powerful earthquake shakes water-saturated ground, the soil loses its strength and behaves like a liquid, devouring everything above it. It is the sea god's power, explained by science, but no less terrifying. The discovery was breathtaking. As archaeologists carefully excavated the layers of clay and silt, the lost city returned to the light. They uncovered pottery, coins bearing Poseidon's image, and the cobblestone streets of a thriving metropolis, all perfectly intact, frozen in their final catastrophic moment. They found the walls of buildings, some still standing several feet high, filled with the dark, silty layer from the tsunami that sealed the city's fate. The myth of Poseidon's anger became irrefutable proof of nature's unstoppable design, a geological Pompeii preserved in mud instead of ash. The story of Helike is more than just a rediscovered myth. It's a timeless warning. Before every great disaster, nature whispers. Animals sense the tremors in the earth. The ground itself shifts and groans. The signs are there for those willing to see them. But we, like the prosperous people of Helike, often choose not to listen, wrapped in the comfort of our daily lives, convinced that such catastrophes only happen to others. The ancient city's doom reminds us that the forces that shaped our world are not dormant. They are merely waiting. Perhaps the gods never left. Perhaps they are not bearded figures on thrones, but the very forces we still struggle to predict and cannot control. The shifting of tectonic plates, the fury of the ocean, the fragile ground beneath our feet. In one horrific night, Helike learned a lesson that resonates to this day. When the earthshaker stirs, the world remembers its own fragility. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey to Greece's lost Atlantis. If you were captivated by this story, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the mysteries of the past. We'll see you in the next video.